What's up, everybody? I am Pete Pardo from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility. That's right. It's Wednesday. New review day here on the channel. New releases. Flying heavy this early part of the summer. No shortage of things to listen to and review, including this one. Hot off the presses. This is the 5th studio album from this very cool Swedish band that has not been around all that long. They're barely, not quite a decade into their career, but this is their 5th studio album. It comes fairly soon after their last album, En Annen Värld, from 2021. I'm talking about 2023's Prima Materia from Agusa. Yes, indeed. This is the very cool prog rock band from Sweden that also incorporate lots of folk elements into their music. Think of them as a band that is firmly rooted in the prog legends of the 70s as well as the folk legends of the 70s, but they do it with a kind of like modern twist, which I've always found really unique, very enjoyable. Mostly all instrumental, right? All their albums are comprised of these big long tracks. Maybe you get 2, maybe you get 3, maybe you get 4. That's usually about it. Featuring loads of flute and vintage keyboards and electric and acoustic guitars and all sorts of other things, right? So let's take a look at this brand new one again. Prima Materia, hot off the presses, K2 Records. There they are. I'll tell you about them in a second. All right, as with most of the Agusa CDs, don't get a lot of information, right? It's very minimal. The band is Mikael Odesjo on guitars, Jenny Puertas on flute and voice, Simon Strom on bass, Roman Andren on keyboards, and Nicholas Defonis on drums, percussion, and voice. So, they mentioned voice here. Very little vocal. Voice is probably the way to put it, right? It's little vocalizations here and there. There's no like actual real singing on this album, but a really good album it is. This is one of those bands that they've been around since 2014. 4 albums before this. I mean, every one of those other albums are a 4.5 to 5 out of 5 star rated album in my book. They're just amazing. Right, there's just nothing bad you can say about them. The melodies are gorgeous. The playing is just off the charts. It's not, they're a different type of band. They're not out to hit you with non-stop complex chops and things like that. They certainly can do that, but their music is a little dreamier, a little more free-flowing. There's always nice interplay between the flute and the guitars and the keys. And like I said, there's always a strong kind of folky underpinning of their music. That kind of changes a little bit with this album. I've noticed that there are less folk elements to this album. There's much, much more of a straightforward prog element, as well as some cool kind of like 60s psych, right? Which is not surprising because a lot of Swedish bands that I've listened to now and have been listening to for a number of years who go for like a 70s feel and either like do like 70s prog or 70s kind of retro hard rock, doom and that sort of thing. A lot of them in recent couple of years and albums have been starting to dip back into the 60s and go for that kind of like whole psychedelic and pop type of element. Including these guys on this album. There's definitely more reliant on like these kind of cool, psych, crispy guitar riffs and licks. There's a lot more keyboards. There's less like acoustic elements on this album. And definitely more nice use of like electric piano and synths and things like that. There's still plenty of flute on here, which is kind of nice, but it's used in a way that's always endearing on their albums. And so the tracks on, I'll try to read these. There's 4 tracks. I'll try to read them as best I can. Lost och Fagring, within parentheses, Sommarvisan. Track number 2, Underbar Himmel. Track number 3, Ur Askan. And track number 4, Saak Pa Jordan. Okay. Don't know what any of that means, right? So forgive me. But let me go and give you some song lengths here. So, I can't even do that. So I thought I would be able to access some information that would give me how much they are. But, the tracks are all lengthy, right? 10 minutes plus. That's what you get with an Agusa album. Generally speaking, their albums are 40 to 45 minutes long. And if you get two tracks, each one's like 20 minutes long. If you get four, each one's 10. You know how it works there. Very, very cool stuff. As far as like my favorites, and again, I always have a hard time with the Agusa albums picking out favorite tracks because everything is so epic, and the album really almost needs to be listened to start to finish as if it's like one whole suite. Everything just kind of plows into each other. It's kind of the same thing here. Every track here is really, really cool. Like I said, I think if you're familiar with the music of the band and you are aware of like all the kind of folk and acoustic leanings that they've done on their prior albums, there's still some of that here, but there's this is a much more electric album. And like I said, there's a strong psych element going throughout this whole record, which I kind of dig, right? It's something a little bit different, and it's really cool. So maybe this is kind of more of their rock effort, I guess. Not that the other ones don't have rock elements. When the guitars get kind of chunky, they do. There's some great guitar solos on here. Like I said, the flute's just magical. But man, a lot of really, really cool keyboards on here. Really, really good stuff. Everything's good. The rhythms, drums, good. Everything's good. Enjoyable stuff. Love the cover. I don't know. It's so new, right? I'm only like barely a handful of listens into it. I'm going to easily say this is 4.5 out of 5 star. Might even eventually be higher than that. This might actually be a 5 out of 5. It's that good. I mean, the quality of these albums from this band are just off the charts good. This is, Agusa are not like Engelgard, right? Engelgard, another great Swedish prog band who just do this uncanny, weaving, twisted, dissonant, complex King Crimson meets Jethro Tull meets, you can throw out all sorts of other band names, Genesis and all this stuff, and it's just this web of just kind of like just mind-boggling stuff. Not that this isn't mind-boggling, it's in a different way. The music of Agusa is a little dreamier, like I said, and on prior albums a little folkier. Here they add a little psych element. Really, really cool. I'm loving it. It's just really, really good. So I would say at all costs, go out and get this. As my buddy Ken Golden says, buy or die. If you've heard their other ones, you're going to want this. If you've never jumped on the Agusa train before, I would say this is a good place to get started and work your way back. Prima Materia from Agusa, K2 Records. It's available now. Go check it out. You won't regret it. Really, really cool. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube all together all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also down below we got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations as well as our merch page. So thanks in advance for all your support there. And we'll see you real soon here. More reviews. Should have much more coming up today. I'm going to try and squeeze as many in today as I possibly can to get caught up a little bit. But, other stuff has just arrived too. I got this brand new Frank Zappa archival release called Funky Nothingness. That'll probably be at least a week or two before I get to that 3-disc set. So I got new Pat Metheny, new Eloy, new Dozer, all sorts of other cool stuff. What else we got here? Hugh Hopper, Hamina, some cool stoner stuff from heavy psych sounds and Rise Above and all. It's just so much stuff. So till then, stay tuned for all of it. I am Pete Pardo. We'll see you real soon. Bye bye.